All right, let's look at the idea of a function. So a function is defined as for every input, there is exactly one output. Okay, so some examples. So let's see, a function, let's say if you're making $40 an hour, for example, the salary that you bring home is a function of the hours worked. Because if you work for 8 hours, you're going to get a really specific amount that you bring home. You're always going to bring that same amount home if you work 8 hours. Now compare that if you were a waitress and you get tips. Let's say that you make $20 an hour plus tips. The tips vary. So you might work 8 hours, so your input is 8 hours. And one night you might make $100 in tips. So you might have an output of 160 from your salary, but then $100 in tips, so you might get 260 output, right? But sometimes your tips might be really bad, so you might have a night where you only make $25 in tips. Okay, so for the same input of 8 hours, you can have multiple outputs. That's an example where it is not a function. Okay, another example which we hope is a function is a vending machine, right? If I type in E1, I really hope that every single time I get out my Snickers bar. Okay? I don't want sometimes to have Snickers and sometimes to have chewing gum or something like that. I want there to be a specific output for every time I input that code. Okay, so vending machine. Another example would be if we're driving at a really steady rate at, like 50 miles an hour, then the amount of distance we travel would be a function of how much time we have been traveling. So our distance would be a function of 50 miles per hour times the time. So our distance would be a function of the time. Okay, so those are just some examples. And with this one, if you were driving in town and you're stopping and starting, and so you don't have a steady rate, then the distance you travel is not a function of the time. Sometimes you might get stuck at a traffic light, sometimes not. So if we have a list of ordered pairs, we can just look at that and see if it's a function or not. Okay, so what we're looking for is for every input. For 1, is there a possibility here of a 1 outputting a different number than 3? And here you can see that for every single input, there's only 1 and only 1 output. So this one is a function, whereas this is not, because the input of 2 has an output of 3, and then input of 2 has a different output of 4. So because of that input has separate two different output values, that is not a function. All right, so let's move on to our next ones. Now we can tell graphically if something is a function or not. Remember that every input has one and only one output. Well, if I go to this input of x equals 2, I can look on the graph. There's 2 different places where on the graph that's defined here. I have this point where x is 2 and y is -1, and then I have this one where x is 2 and y looks like -5. Okay, so this is not a function. The same input has multiple outputs. And we can tell that by also just checking to see if I run a vertical line through this, if it hits more than once, it is not a function. Okay, so to be a function, a graph is defined as a function if there's no vertical line that can intersect at more than one place. So here, if I tried to make a vertical line, there's no place that it would hit my function, my graph, more than once. So this one passes the vertical line test, and this is a function. And this one is not, because right here I have two places. If I threw a vertical line right there, it would hit that graph twice. So that fails the vertical line test and it is not a function. Great, okay. So now let's look at equations and see if we can figure out if they're a function or not. So we know some of these equations. We know y equals mx plus b is the equation of a straight line where the coefficient of x is the slope and the constant, just the plain number, is the y-intercept. So this line right here, y equals 2x plus 6, that's a straight line. Our slope is 2. If we were going to graph that, we could make that 2 over 1. And our y-intercept is 6. Okay, so if I was going to graph that, I would have a y-intercept up here at 6, and then I would go up 2 over 1. Okay, that is a vertical, or just a diagonal line. There is no place, if I tried to have the vertical line test, it would only hit that function in one place. So that one is a function. Okay, and now here I see a x squared, and that has a parabola shape. And so the vertical line would only hit that graph once, so this is a function. And if you can't tell with an equation just by looking at it what the graph would look like, you can always make an XY table for yourself and actually give yourself a graph and see what the thing looks like. All right, now on this one we have the equation of a circle. The center are the numbers. You can tell what the center is. That's the number being subtracted from x. So this has a center with an x value of 2 and a y value of 3. Okay, so there's the center of our circle, and then it has a radius of 2. Okay, so there's our center, there's our radius. So this would not be a function, right? Because with a circle, a vertical line would hit it twice, so that is not a function. Okay, there we go. So now let's look at some more of some graphs, and we're going to define domain and range. Domain is the set of all the x values, and range is the set of all the y values. Okay, so if I have a list of ordered pairs here, my domain, I just go through and list up all the x values. So the domain in this case would be 1, 2, and 3. And then the range is all of the y values. So it's all these y values. And you don't need to repeat that 3. You can just list it once. So it's the list of the numbers 3 and 5. Those are the y values. And we can also look at this graphically from a graph here. The domain, we're looking at where is their graph, okay? So for domain, I go over on my x-axis from left to right. Is there a place way back here at -infinity where I could have graph? And since my graph continues, there's no closed circle, so it does continue. All right, so I'd have to look way, way up at the top of the page, but there would still be graph, okay? So there's graph, there's graph, there's graph, all the way, and it continues on as as our x's get bigger and bigger towards infinity. There still is some graph, okay? So any place you went to on the graph, any x value, you could go and find a corresponding place on the graph. All right, so x value of -5, you could go up there and find that on the graph. -4, you can find it on the graph. -3. So every x value that we could think of, positive or negative, decimals, everything has a corresponding place on that graph. Now for the range, we're going from bottom to top. Okay, so for the range, we go down from down here on the y values that are really small. So way down here at -infinity, there's no graph. It isn't until I get right here at a y value of -4, that my graph starts, okay? So here is the corresponding places on the graph where there is functions for the y. Okay, so I would show that I start at -4 and I go up towards infinity. All right, let's look at this. So for domain, we go from left to right, and we just look to see where does the graph start or stop, and the graph is never ending. Okay, so my domain, any place along here, along the x-axis, I can find a corresponding spot on the graph. So domain is the same as before, -infinity to infinity. Okay, and then for my range, I'm going from down from the bottom to the top. Okay, so I don't find the graph until right here, and that looks like I'm at at a y value of 2. Okay, and then from here on out, all these y values are defined. I can go and find a place on the graph. So if I had a y value of like 5, I could go over and find a corresponding x value on the graph. Okay, y value of 9, there it is. It's showing up on the graph. Okay, so our range is the y value, so you have to use the y value of 2, and then it's going up to infinity. Okay, and a common mistake is to not use the correct, to use the x value here, but we want to make sure that we're using a y value of 2. All right, let's look at this one. So domain, we start from left to right. Because of this arrow here, that graph does not stop, so I get to go back to an x value of -infinity. Okay, and then I've got places on the graph where I've got graph. Here there's this big open circle, but because it is defined down here when y is -1, an x value of 0 does have a corresponding spot on the graph, so that's still defined all the way off towards infinity. So there's my domain, which are the x values. And then for the range, I don't start with my graph until right there, and then I've got it defined all along here for my y values. Okay, so for range, we need to make sure that we're using the y values, and this looks like a y value of -10. And we get to head up towards infinity. Now there's this kind of funny spot here with this open circle. So what happens at a y value of 2? Well, that is defined right here. So that does have a corresponding spot in the graph. So there's no holes right here for this graph.